Ooh, cannoli from Italy. And when I say Italy, I don't mean the country. I mean the store in Prudential Center in Boston. Well, can I tell you anything that you don't know already? Starting from the famous tiramisu and cannoli at the Prudential Center in the store Italy to beautiful fall season, you probably know already everything. So I will try to make it as entertaining as possible. People move here for jobs, for good education, for healthcare, and usually people leave Boston missing all those things, but they say that they can't stand the cold winters. Hi, my name is Noune Karapetian. I'm a real estate agent with Compass, and if you're new here, consider subscribing because every week I bring you important information about buying and selling real estate and enjoying life in the Boston area. In this video, I'm gonna give you the pros and cons of living in Boston proper, not the suburbs. I have lots of videos about suburbs, but this one is about living actually in the city of Boston. It is a very walkable city, so if you're living in the Boston proper, you can probably walk to a lot of places yourself, and you might not need a car. The public transportation is great. You have the bus, the subway, even ferries, the commuter rail. You have a lot of options when it comes to transportation. And if you're living more like Back Bay, Beacon Hill, downtown area, you can walk practically everywhere. Pro number two, it's very diverse. So you have all kinds of different neighborhoods, and every neighborhood is slightly different with its character and quirks, and you will find a lot of diversity in the population and also in the foods, in the restaurants. The North End is the Italian, kind of the little Italy of Boston, and this is where you'll find many restaurants and cafes. It's a wonderful experience to go there on the weekend, to just walk around, to live there. There are no single families available there, but there are many apartments that you can rent or you can own. In North End, the famous Aria Trattoria serves mouth-watering Italian dishes, and it hosted many celebrities over the years. You can see the names and the pictures of the celebrities on the wall. Many North End restaurants remove their glass walls to create an experience of al fresco dining. I like the North End panini much better than the ones in Italy, honestly. Back Bay is where the famous Prudential Center and Italy are, where you can have your dinner, do your grocery shopping. You can spend your whole day there. Chinatown in Boston has all kinds of Chinese and Vietnamese restaurants. It has a large grocery store where they sell a lot of Asian produce and dry goods. And they have boba and dim sum. And my favorite restaurant, the Q restaurant, where they serve the most amazing and delicious hot pots and dim sum. Boston's Chinatown is one of the most densely populated areas of Boston. It is also the second largest Chinatown after New York City. There is also a Chinese-owned bus line that goes from Boston to New York City, connecting those two Chinatowns. Close to the South Station is the Japanese Oya restaurant, which is an award-winning restaurant. You don't want to miss their sushi, their bluefin tuna, and smoked salmon sashimi. Well, I'm regressing. I'm talking about neighborhoods, but that video is coming up next week. I'm making a video about Boston neighborhoods, so make sure you don't miss that one. Brainiacs. We have, Harvard University and MIT in our backyards practically. Boston area has so many incredible universities and schools. Just to name a few: Boston College, Brandeis University, Boston University, New England Conservatory, Northeastern, and Tufts universities. Even the community colleges will give you a pretty good. But the other perk of having amazing colleges is you get all those professors that are teaching at MIT and Harvard living in that area. So generally the IQ level is pretty high. Number 4, we have wonderful parks and trails. Well, the oldest park in US is right in Boston. That's Boston Common, where you can spend an afternoon watching the swans or take a stroll around the area. It's beautiful, it's green, the landscaping is amazing. Be it summer or winter, there's a lot to do. In the winter, there is a lot of ice skating happening here. Rose Fitzgerald Kennedy Greenway is not just pretty, it's packed with activities with 7 water-featured carousel, art installations, and a long way to walk from one end to the other. There is the Charles River bike path that goes for many miles, and you can bike or run. Well, once you have all that fun over the weekend, it's time to go back to work. There are plenty of jobs in Boston and surrounding areas. There are many biotech and tech companies and jobs in education. And actually, you'll be surprised to know that the biggest employer in Boston is Mass General Hospital. Medical field is huge here. Boston is historic and old. You walk, there's always history on every street. You see all those beautiful Victorian brownstones, and you imagine how people lived 100, 200 years ago. It also has that European feel. It doesn't feel like a city in America, really. And there are areas that are extremely new and vibrant, like the Seaport District, where it looks like a new city. To New York City, it's about 3.5 hours. You can spend the weekend there and come back. I used to do day trips. I would take the bus to New York City for opera auditions and come back the same day. I would not recommend it. To Montreal, Canada is about 5-hour drive. Another popular destination is Providence, Rhode Island. Can you see yourself living in Boston? Write in the comments. If you're liking this video so far, hit the like button. The flights to Europe are inexpensive and short. I had clients that came from Seattle. They relocated from Seattle to Boston, and one of their main reasons was we need to have a shorter flight and less expensive flight to Israel, and this is very convenient for us. They also wanted to experience less rain, but this year we had so much rain. I hope they're not disappointed. After hearing about all those positives, it's like impossible to think that there will be any negatives, but yes, there are. If you're thinking of renting, many young people decide to have roommates, housemates, so they can share the expense. So a lot of times it's about $1,000 per person if you're living with 2-3 friends. Of course, if you choose the suburbs of Boston, you'll get much better deals, but you'll be further from downtown Boston. The down payment for rental in Boston usually is first month, last month, security deposit, and agent fee. The agent fee most of the time is equal to 1 full month. To buy a single family in Boston, you have to think $800 and up, but don't let that scare you away. Because of the diversity of the neighborhoods, you will be able to find something in $800 range. Many people have pets, especially dogs and cats. and I saw on some chats that people are saying Boston is not pet friendly, and some people were saying, what are you talking about? Everybody has a pet in Boston. Okay, let me explain what is really happening. If you are a pet owner, if you are thinking of renting a place, not many landlords are excited about having tenants that have pets. So I looked up on MLS, and out of 2,856 rentals in Boston, only 963 were pet friendly. Con number 3 is traffic. Of course, like any other big city, Boston has a lot of traffic, and they're in certain directions and certain times. Driving in the city, yes, it's crazy, but not like New York where everybody is honking and honking and honking. Boston is a little bit more civilized. It gets dark pretty early, like 4:30 p.m., and some people will complain about getting a seasonal depression. The only thing that can help you with that is to be active, to be involved in sports, to be involved in other things, so you will not notice how dark it is outside. And those dark months, maybe 2 months, 3 months, now the daylight saving time comes earlier in March, so it's not that bad. Another thing that a lot of people in Boston do is during the coldest months, they plan a vacation to Aruba or to another very warm destination. If you can afford it, it's the best way to do it. If you have any questions about living in Boston, please do not hesitate to contact me. Don't forget to download my relocation guide and watch my next video, which is about the South End neighborhood of Boston.